Welcome. In this tutorial, we are going to recreate this simple animation. But the reason for creating this tutorial is to show you how to use the vector points to create characters like this. So I got this character from Google, from one of their character animation. So we're going to recreate this in Alight motion. Okay. So now to get started, let me present the Alight motion app. All right, you guys know by now, we need to start by creating our project. Okay, so I'll just click and these settings are good to go. Then I'll just create project. Okay, so first thing first, let's start with the head of the character. So let me show you guys again. Show you guys what we're talking about here. Okay, so let's start with the head of the character. We're going to create this head separately, then followed by the body. We'll create the head separately, then followed by the body, then we'll create the rest of the animation. All right. Okay, so now let's create the head in a group, in an empty group. So let's start by going to our object and element, and let's create an empty group. So let's go here and make sure that the empty group fits within the composition area. Okay, so now let's go inside our empty group. All right, so from your end, probably you have the sample so you can be looking at it as I recreate it. All right, now like I said, we're starting with the head, and one of the base shape is the face. So let's start with the face. Now there are different ways we can go about creating this, but I'll show you the best way actually. So let's start by using a cycle. Then we'll modify that cycle. It's like clay. It's like you modifying clay to create what you want. So let's bring in a cycle. Here's it. And let me go to color and fill. I already have the color here, so you can try and copy the value you have here, or you can go here and try to match the skin tone. It's up to you. All right, so now we have a cycle. Let me bring down the scale a little bit and bring it down like this. All right, so this is far from what we want, but this is the base. So in order to start modifying this, you can see that what we have here is edit shape. And the only thing we can do with this edit shape is to play around with this, you see, with the X value and the Y value. So that's not what we want. But before we go for that, let me highlight the X value and let me just bring it in a little bit, you know, something a little bit close to what we want, something like this. All right. So now, in order to start editing the points, because if you look at it, we have 4 points here that made up the cycle. So we want to start editing these points. So in order to do that, we need to convert this cycle to an outline. You get? So now we just need to click here and convert to outline. You see, when I click that convert to outline, you see it changed from edit shape to edit points. So now we are able to edit the point. So if I click through, you can see we now have a different interface. So some of you, this might be the first time you see something like this. Don't worry, it's very simple. So I'll just walk you through how you can manipulate this stuff. All right, so since we've converted this cycle to outlines, it now gives us access to edit this point. You can see if I click on the point, you can see we have these handles. So if I move this handle, and in order to move the handle, just go to this trackpad here and move it. So you can see we are able to move around and manipulate it. You see? Now you can scroll here to go to the next point. This one is very important. In a situation whereby you have a lot of points, so you can just scroll through to get to the point you want. And you can see it reflects this green cycle here showing you that yes, this is the point that you have. So you can click this one and play around with the handle to get what you want. Well, if this is your first time playing around with this point, it might take you time before you get used to it. But like everything, the first time you play around with it is going to be quite difficult, but as time goes on, you get used to it. All right, so what we want to do now, we want to start shifting this point around to get what we want. Now let's start with this one here. What we want now, we want to bring it a little bit close, because if you take a look at the sample, you can see that the jaw is is um is a little bit sharper at the end. So let's highlight the handle here, and let's bring it close like this, something like this. All right, and you can also drag it out. You can see it's very simple to work with. So let us bring this close like this. All right, now there's no a lot of modification we are going to do here. It's just simple. We're just pushing the points. So for this one, let me just bring this one in a little bit. Click and bring this one in a little bit. So I think we are almost, I'm okay with the outcome. So what we just did is that we just create a cycle and we convert it to an outline. Then we're able to now access the point of that cycle and go to the one below here and bring the points in to create this sharper edge, jaw, something like that. So this is a very simple step. Now the next thing is the hair. But before I get to the hair, I think let's create the year of the character. Okay, so in order to create that, this time we can use a shape layer, or we can create it ourselves using the vector drawing. We'll get to the vector drawing. So for this one, let's use a shape layer again. So this time you can take, if you have the sample with you, you can take a look at it. You can see that the ear is a little bit round at the edge. So now to save ourselves time, let's use the rounded rectangle. So I'll click this to add it, go to our color and fill, and use this color. All right. So go back, let's go to our move and transform, go to the scale. Let's just bring this down. So let's bring this down and move it to the other side like this. All right, so you can see that, let me just increase it. Yes, this is close, but we still need to work on the points. So before we convert this to an outline, let's increase the radius a little bit, something like this. I guess the emulator has freeze again. Okay. Okay, so let's restart it. It happens like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll need to update the Nox player again. All right, so let's go back to our project. Okay, so let's go inside our group now. Now, what we want to do, let's play around with the radius, yeah, something like this. And I think we'll need to maybe extend it out like this. All right. So now that we are done, let's convert this to an outline. So now we can access the point. So you can see this one, there's a lot more points here. So we can just easily click and go to our trackpad here and just bring this down a little bit, something like this. And I think that's all. Let me just bring this down. So let me take a look at it. Okay. Now I think we need to go back. Let's go here and probably just bring this one down and bring this one up like this. Okay, so basically this is how it works. You just have to be playing around with the points till we get what we want. So let me show you what I did here. So you can see for this point, it has only one it has only one vertices. How will I call it? Now, in order to make it two so that I can smooth it out, just click here and click it again to convert it so that it has two vertices now. So now I can readjust it like this. Okay. For this one, let me just bring this one in. See, this one also has one. So let me convert it to two. So, and let me just bring that in. Okay, I think I like the outcome. So basically, what you just need to do from the end is play around with the points. It will be a lot easier since you are doing it on your phone. Because I'm using mouse, so it's a little bit difficult to get it perfect, but still get the job done. So I'm okay with this here. So what we need to do now, you can easily duplicate this one now. So that here, click, and let's bring it to the other side like this. So what we need to do is flip it. So go here, and let's flip it horizontally, and let's position it back, something like this. Okay, so now we're done with the ear. Now the next thing is the hair. But if you take a look at it, if you have experience in drawing characters, maybe from other software, you'll notice that the hair is actually in two parts. The back one and the front one. Okay, so let's start by creating the front part of the hair. Now, in order to create this one, we don't have any shape we can use, or yes, we can use a rectangle and try to tweak it, add more points and move it around. That will work. But instead of doing all of that, let's just go with the vector drawing. So with this vector drawing, we can place points ourselves how we want. So click, and you can see this is the point. So if I click this plus, it's added 1 point. Now if I move to another part of the composition and click, it adds another point, and move again and click, see, it adds another point. So that's how you use the vector drawing in Alight Motion. So let me undo that. Now I want to create the front part of the hair. So I'll start from somewhere here. I'll click. Don't worry, you can easily go back and move the points again. So it's not like it's not permanent. So I'll move this down around somewhere here. Add, move this, add, move, add it, and just keep adding these points like this. So where you place the points is up to you. It's your choice. So just place it again like this. Move it out like this. Okay. So just trying to cover. So for now to join it with this one, you can easily click here and click this point to see. Now it's closed that gap. All right. So now what we need to do, let's go back, go to our column view, and then make this black. Okay, so we are close. If you are looking at the sample, you can see that the edge are not sharp. The edge are soft. It's a little bit rounded. So let me reopen. I don't know why it's scratching too much today. So in order to, there's a different ways we can make the edge. We can round off this edge. We can, let me go inside the group again. Click. go to our edit shape. We can click on, let's start with this one, and add the vertices, add points to it, and we can round it off like this. This will work. In fact, most times if you're using the vector drawing tool, you'll be using this tool to round off the edge and all of that. But in this situation, we can use an effect that Alight Motion provides for us. So let's go to our effects, go to add effects, and I think the effect is in distort and wrap. No, let me look for it. Sometimes you forget. Okay, I think it's called edge or something like that. Let me go back. Let me go to edge. Okay, yeah, yes, it's smooth edge. This is the effect we need to use. So I'll click and add it. Straight up, you will not notice anything. So when I increase the strength, you can see it smooths out the edge. You can see initially the edge are very sharp. If I smooth it out, smooth out the edge. So this is what we want. All right. Now we can go back to our points and probably move the points to get what we want, maybe to modify and bring it closer to what we want. But you can see, because we had that smooth edge, you can see the edge is now naturally smooth. Okay, so I just want to bring this one out like this. All right, now for the back of the hair, if you take a look at this is a star. This is a star shape layer in Alight Motion that we apply the smooth edge to. So very simple, simple as that. So all we need to do is click and let's add a star. First off, let's change the color to black. Okay. Now let's go to the move and transform. Let's just scale this up like this and reposition it. So let's bring it below all the shapes. So it's at the back like this. All right. Now, okay, yes, it's now what we need to do. Let's go to edit star shape. And for the points, let's make this 6. Starting 6 will work. All right. Okay. So let's make it 6. And let's go for the outer radius. I think the outer radius is fine. It's the inner radius we need to increase. So I'll increase it to something like this. Something like this. And maybe push out the outer radius like this. Okay. So we have something like this. Now, for the points, 6 points is okay. All right, so now let's go to our effects, go to add effects, and let's add a smooth edge. Okay. All right, so let's increase the value of the smooth edge. You can see we now get what we are looking for. So how far you increase the value, you push the value is up to you, it's up to your taste. So I think this is okay. All right, so now the remaining part is the eyes and the nose. So these ones are quite simple. So all you also need to do, click and let's go to our vector drawing and let's move it around somewhere here. Add, push it forward a little bit and add again. All right, so now let's go back. Let's take out the fill. We don't want fill. Let's go to the stroke and turn on the stroke. All right, so you can increase the value. I think this 4 is okay. All right, so we can just duplicate this one again and move this out like this. Okay, so let me show you another trick. Maybe in order to not have a lot of layers here, you can easily, let's delete this, go here. Since it's basically the same thing, you can use a, where is it, to confine it here. You can use a mirror effect. So let's add a mirror. So in order to make this work, we just need to change the blending mode to maybe over or under. Depends, but in this situation, it doesn't matter. So, and push out, I think, is it not working? I don't know. We should see the other effects. All right, let me reset the effect again, reset to default. And let's change this to file. All right, so I don't know what's going on with this, but in a situation like this, let's see. Okay, now not to waste our time, let's just go with let me just delete the mirror. Let's go with the normal way. Let us duplicate and move this out. So move this out like this. All right, so now let's create a nose. So what we just need to do, click, and let's go to our vector drawing again. And let's position it somewhere here, just above a little bit, add it. And first off, we want to start with a rough, just place the point where it is necessary. Then we can go back and readjust it. So for this one around somewhere here, add again. Let's bring this one down like this. And click to add. And let's just bring this one slightly down and also add. All right, so in this position, we don't want the fill. So you can just go back, go to your color and fill, and click this to remove it. And let's go to our border stroke and just turn on our stroke. Probably it's too thick. And maybe let's bring it down to 2.5. Okay, now this is what we want, but this point is too sharp. So we just need to change this to have these vertices. Just click and click to highlight one of it. And let's just bring this, let's bring this down like this. Okay. And probably let me bring this one in a little bit. All right. So that's how we create the nose and the eyes. As simple as that. So now we're done with the head. We're done with the head. Now let's start creating a body. So let's go out. And you can see this is the head. So we can bring down the scale, can scale it down. Let's scale it down like this. And let's start with the neck. Okay. Now I notice there's an issue. Okay, let me add the neck first. So let me just bring in a rectangle, go to the color and fill, and here's the skin color. So go to the edit shape and just bring it in. The Y value also just reduce it. And let me just bring this down like this. So the neck should be below the head, something like this. So we're having issue with this, with the hair interfering. So we need to go back to the group and modify the hair. So, but for now, let's continue with the neck first. So just bring this in a little bit like this. And for the Y, can also just maybe something like this. Okay. All right. Now, in order to make the base of the neck wide, just like what we have in the sample, guys know what we just need to do now is convert this to an outline. So let's convert this. So we change it to 8 points. So now we can mess with our points here. So I'll just bring this one out and also bring this one out. Maybe not too thick. Out like this. Something like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So let me just bring this one up. And also bring this one up. like this. Okay, now let's go modify the hair so that it will be behind the hair. But I'm thinking, instead of trying to modify it, why don't we just make the hair, the neck, or why don't you just bring the neck inside the head group? So I think that'll work. That'll work based on our character. So I'll click and go here and just copy the layer and maybe delete it. Now let's go inside our group and let's paste it. You see, since we have it here, we can bring it below, just above the hair. So you can't see it because it's behind and it's small. So let's just bring this out like this and let's scale it up. Something like this. All right. So we can really differentiate the jawline from the neck. So that's why if you take a look at the sample, we have this shadow, this a little bit of shadow. So in order to add it, let's make use of vector drawing. Let's bring it somewhere here. Click to add and bring it forward like this. Add, bring it out, add, and or you can just leave it like that. Don't need to join it. All right, so let me change the color to black. Now let me bring this below, just above the neck. This is the neck. Now you can see it's extending out. So what we just need to do is clip it to the neck layer. Click and create clipping marks. All right. Now still, the neck is still in the hair, still not, it's kind of obstructing what we have here. So what we just need to do, let's solve this issue once and for all. Let's convert this to an outline. Maybe before you convert it to an outline, you can duplicate it to save the duplicate. So let me just show you, just for safe practice. So I'll duplicate the layer and turn off the duplicate, just in case you want to go back to it. And let me just convert this now to an outline. So now with this, we can now access the points. So this point is one giving us issue. We can just push it up like this. Simple as that. All right, so now we can see our neck clearly and the shadow. So we can go back to the shadow. No, here's the shadow. Go to the edit point and probably maybe extend it. Maybe bring this one down a little bit like this. Okay, now we can go back to our main composition. Now we have both our head and our neck in the same group. So here's it. So now let's create our body. Now creating our body is quite simple. All we just need is a rectangle and points all over the rectangle and modifying those points. Simple as that. So let's start by adding a, I'll say we should add a rounded rectangle, but in this situation, I want us to round the edges ourselves, if that will work. Yeah, I'd like us to round the edges ourselves. All right, so let's add a normal rectangle. Let's change the color, match what we have in the sample. Probably use something a little bit darker so that you guys can see it, what's going on. All right, so let me just bring this down like this. Okay, now before convert it to an outline, let's try and arrange, make it the shape we want it to be. So because it's more easier to do it that way before we convert it to point. So let's go back to ID shape and let's modify the width of how we want the body of the girl to be. So I think something like this is fine. A bit too big. Something like this is fine. All right. So now we can go back and convert this to an outline. So now we can access the points. So what we need to do, let's first of all bring this one in, click and bring this one in. So I'm just using my eyes to gauge, to make it look nice. So because currently we don't have that tool in Alight Motion, where you can mirror as you're walking, it's mirroring the other parts, because this is a very good use of the mirror tool or something like that. But in this situation, we just have to use our eyes to gauge it. Okay. Now, what we need to do, we want to round off this edge. But before we do that, if you take a look at the sample, you can see that. Let me bring up the sample again. Let me bring up the sample. All right. So you can see from the sample, you can see that there's a dent here around this edge. So in order to create this curve, we need to add a point here and here and in between, where we can now bring this down. So let me show you how it works. So all I need to do, let me present back our light motion. All right. So what we need to do, like I said, we need to add a point here, and a point in between to create that shape. So what we need to do in order to add a point, let's scroll. Let's always look at this green line. This green line is going to show you where your point is going to be added. Well, you can still move the point around, so that's fine. But you can let's drag along. Let's say somewhere here. I'll click to add a point. Then I will move along somewhere here. I'll click again to add a point. And let me go in between like this. And I will click to add a point. All right. So now with these points added, I can, since the middle one is already highlighted, I can push it down like this. Push it down like this. Okay. Now I can click here to round it off because now it's sharp. So I can just click, you can see. So now you can just highlight one of these and push it in, something like this. All right, so for this one also, maybe I'll just round this off also and click and try to bring it close like this. Same thing to this one, round it off. And sometimes this one handling these points can be painful, but practice make perfect. All right, so let me highlight this edge also. Click here to round it off. Don't worry, while you round it off, you see it will disturb the shape, but you can just, all you just have to do is highlight and, play around with the points, this trackpad here to get what you want. So let me just bring this one down like this. Okay, something like this. Okay, now for this one also, let me also round it off. So make sure this is highlighted. I'll bring this close. All right, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing is really perfect, but this will get us what we're looking for. So I guess the app. Let me see. Let's give it some time. I don't know. The app is misbehaving today. So basically, the essence of this particular class is to introduce you, for those of you that don't know how to use the vector drawing in Alight Motion, is to introduce you to the vector drawing. It's a very powerful tool, very powerful. Use it to create characters like this and create amazing animation. So all you just need to do is practice. Just play around with the tool, play around with it for as long as possible so you get used to it. All right. So now we were creating the body. Okay. We're here. And I think we'll round it off about this. So now let's say you just want to manipulate just this point or just this point. because sometimes you might want to do something like that. So what I just need to do is click, and now you can see you can just move only that point. If you highlight it, you can move, you'll be moving the 2 points at the same time. So that's something you need to know there. All right, so for this one also, let's try and maybe bring it up like this. All right, so let me change the color. No, I think the color is still okay. Still okay. So the issue we're having now is the neck is not extending down behind the body. So probably we can just bring this one up like this. Maybe this will work. And okay, I think this is fine. This is fine. Okay, so from your end, you can try to play around till you get what you want. So now let me go back to the edit points. This one is too far down. Let me just bring this up a little bit like this. Let's push this up. All right. So let me go back and bring this down. Okay. Now let's create the revealing part of the neck. What we just need to do is use a mat for this. It's a very simple thing. So what we'll let's bring in our cycle, something like this. Also, for change the color to the skin color, and let's mask it. Create clipping mask. So you can see, so it clips itself on this this body layer, something like that. So if you don't know about clipping masks, we'll have a video on that. So please check it out. All right, so we can just maybe bring it down more. So you can go to the edit shape and play around with the X value, probably like this. Push it around more, something like this. And maybe push it up like this. Okay. So we're almost there. But if you take a look at the sample, you can see that we have an outline here. So let's add that outline. So we can just easily use this cycle again and duplicate it, go, and let's take off the fill. We don't want the fill. We just want the stroke, something like this. So maybe let's reduce the stroke. Let me make it 2. 2 is fine. All right, but we don't want it to cover everything like this. We just want it to cover from this part to this part. So in order to do that, let's go to our edit, to our effects, add effects, and sometimes you just have to search for the effects, because looking for it's called a trim. Is it trim? Sometimes I use After Effects terminologies here. All right, so I think we can find it. Is it the drawing an edge? Yes, it's called the draw progress. So let's add it. And let's play with the start value. Let's see how it goes. So you can see it's trimming it off, but we don't want to trim it from that part. So let's bring this one back down to 0. And let's play with the end value. Okay. So as simple as that. This is all we're looking for. Something like this. Okay. So now let's create the hand. This one also is very simple. So what we just need to do is use our vector drawing. Again, click, and let's go somewhere here. Let's click to add. Let's move it down like this. Something like this. And also click again. And now let's bring this down. And so click. All right, so now we don't want the fill. We can just click to remove the fill. Go to the border and shadow, turn this on, and probably let's reduce it to around 1.5. Okay. Now we can easily duplicate this. Duplicate, and let's flip it horizontally, and that's it. Okay, so this situation, let's move it back like this, and let's move this one also back. So I think the issue now, let's go back to this one, go back to the edit point. Probably let's move the points back and move this one too back. Let's bring this one down a little bit. This one too down like this. So with this modification, we can just delete this one and duplicate it again. Click and let's flip it horizontally. Let's reposition it like this. The reason why I did that is because I want to have a space for the ant. All right, so now let's add the ant. This one also we need to use the vector join. Click, so add the vector join. So let's bring the points down to around somewhere here. Click to add. Let's move this down like this. Click to add again, and let's move this down. Click to add again. So we can just complete it like this. All right. So let me bring this point up. Highlight it and let me just bring it up like this. Okay. So let's change the color to the skin color. And let's add a stroke. So let me just reduce it to maybe around 1 is fine. All right, so we can just reposition it like this. Now let me round off this edge. It's a little bit too sharp. So let's go back to edit point. Highlight it and click this. All right. So let me click one of the points and let me just bring this close. Just bring this in like this. All right. So we'll get it something like this. Probably let me just bring this down. Like this. Okay. So now let's create the other part of the ant. I also add in our vector drawing. Let's bring this down somewhere here. Click to add. Let's bring this one front like this. Add again, and let's just bring this down like this and add. All right. So in order to make sure that this fill covered, because you can see it's not covering everything. So let us add another point here and take it back, add another point, and you can leave it like that. All right. So now let's change the color to the skin color we have here. And let's bring it in the first one here. All right. Now let's also modify the point. This one, let's round it up also. And I'll just bring this close. No, it's too much. So it's because I'm using a mouse, that's why this thing is misbehaving. But from your hand, it should be very easy for you to play around with this. All right, so let me just bring this one down a little bit like this. Okay, well now you can see we have these issues of this one extending out, something like that. So in order to solve this issue, first of all, we need to bring it behind this shape we have here. But this shape currently, we've removed the fill. So in order to add it, let's click on one of these, go back to our color and fill, and let's add the same fill of the color of the cloth. But in this situation, you can see the fill is not covering everything. So all we just need to do is go back to edit point, click, and I think we need to click here. In order to add another point, click on your plus icon here, and now let's move this out and just click. So don't connect it. Because if you connect it, we are going to have a stroke there, so we don't want a stroke. So just leave it out like that. Let's go to our color and fill, and let us change it back to the color of the clothes. Now we have this, and let's go to this one also and do the same thing. Now let's go to this point. Make sure your plus is highlighted. Then you can move it out and also add it. All right, so let's go to our color and fill, and let's choose the color of the clothes. All right, so what we need to do in order to hide this part, we just need to hide it behind this shape. So just click and hold and bring it below, and bring it below. As simple as that. So now technically we're done with our shape, yeah, with our character. So this is how you draw human character in Alight motion. I guess I know this is simple, but these are still the tools you use. You need to use vector drawing, you need to use the shape tools and all of these tricks to create even more complex character. But well, I like the outcome. So what we need to do, let's finish it up. The remaining part is very simple. So in order to move this as a whole, we can actually group all of this together. So I think grouping it will make a lot of sense. So let's just highlight everything, select all layers, and group. So now we have it in a group. You can still access it. See, as easy as that. All right. So now with it in a group, we can move it the way we want. So I'll just move it down like this. Okay. So let me just scroll back a little bit. All right. So the remaining thing now is check the sample to create the style background and the glow. So what we just need to do is click and let's add a rectangle. Let's fit the composition area, and straight up let's go to our effects, add effects, and effect is in the procedural section, and this is it. It's called the star feed. So I just add the star feed and go with the standard setting there. So what I animated was the scale. So make sure the scale is highlighted, click your plus, so add a keyframe, go to the end. You can increase the timeline if you want, but the default we have here is 4 seconds. And I'll just scale it out like this. Probably not too much. So for play, you can see it, simple as that. All right, so let's bring it below the star, the woman here. All right, now for the glow, this one's also very simple. Let's add our cycle, scale it up, reposition it, and also scale it up. So let us bring this below the human figure here, and also scale it up. If something like this is fine. All right, so let's go to our color and fill, and I think I choose this color. Is this one? All right, you can choose whatever color you want. So, but in order to achieve that glow effect, you just need to go to effects, add effects, and go to your blur, and just add a Gaussian blur. You can see we have different blurs here. They have their own uses, but in this case, we want to use the Gaussian blur. So I'll just add the Gaussian blur. All right, so I'll just increase, all you just have to do is increase the strength so you get what you want. So something like this. Something like this. Right, so I think for the color to go something like this, it's fine. You can readjust it. Okay, so this is how you create this. So I hope in this lesson, in this class, you learn how to use the vector drawing tool and manipulate the points to create something like this. All right. So just in case you have any, maybe during the course of going through the tutorial, if you have any question, just let us know. Yeah, on the group, I will attend to you.
Okay.
All right. So
All right.
so that's
Thank
how we
you.
create something like this in Alight Motion. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share it with your friends. You know, they might benefit for something like this. You know, what is Alight Motion to give you? Just a means to be creative. All right. So thank you. I'll see you in the next class.